So now I will be discussing about listening skills in details. All right. So in the last class, I had already told you that listening is a very important part of the communication process. Both the speaker and the listener are important part of the communication process. The speaker and the listener are equally important. It's not like this that the speaker is more important or the listener is less important. So, this is not the situation. The speaker and the listener both are equally important part of the communication process. Communication is effective only when the listener listens to the speaker properly. Otherwise, the communication process is ineffective. It is not at all effective, or you can say it is incomplete if the listener does not listen to the speaker properly. There are three types of listening: active, selective, and reflective listening. Active listening, selective listening, and reflective listening. Active listening is uh, active listening involves paying attention to the person who is speaking. When you concentrate and listen to the speaker, that is known as active listening. Selective listening is when you do not listen to the speaker properly. Selective listening is when you filter the speech of the speaker. When you do not want to listen to the whole speech of the speaker, you do not get all the information, and basically that is known as selective listening. It's totally up to you whether you want to be an active listener or a selective listener. If you are an active listener, you will get all the necessary information. But if you are a selective listener, then you'll miss a lot of information because you are a person who does not listen to the whole speech, who selects and listen. That means who filters the speech and listen to only maybe 20%, 30%, 80% of the speech. And you do not concentrate. So when a listener does not concentrate or when a listener does not pay attention and filters the speech of the speaker, that is known as selective listening. Reflective listening is that kind of a listening when you listen to the speaker properly. Along with it, you also respond. You also ask questions. You also try to interact. As a listener, you listen to the speaker properly. Along with that, you also respond. You also interact with the speaker. Reflective listening involves uh, the two-way communication process. So the speaker speaks, the listener listens, and also provides the feedback, also tries to interact with the speaker, also tries to understand the speaker's idea properly. All right. So you should be an active listener or a reflective listener, but you should not be a selective listener. Sometimes it is not possible to be a reflective listener because you do not get the opportunity to interact with the speaker directly. Sometimes you just have to listen to the speaker and you do not get that opportunity to personally have a interaction, to personally communicate with the speaker. So in that case, you have to listen to the speaker properly, and sometimes it is possible to be a reflective listener when you get the up where you get the opportunity to interact with the speaker. So it depends upon the situation, it depends upon the circumstances, and accordingly you can act. So you need to pick up in between active listening and selective listening, and reflective listening. Selective listening is something that you should avoid because you do not get all the information when you filter and listen. When you don't listen to the speech, when you don't listen to the speaker properly, then you will miss a lot of information. So, whenever you are listening to somebody, you should try to listen to that person properly and also try to provide a feedback. And if possible, also try to provide a feedback. So, when you can listen to the speaker properly, it has a lot of benefits. It has a lot of benefits, like it helps to build relationships, it helps to solve problems, it can ensure understanding, it can resolve conflicts, it can also improve accuracy, it can help you to save time, it can help you to mm, get all the necessary information, it can help you to grow in your life, it can help you to develop your skills, and it helps in a lot of other ways. So you should always try to be a good listener, to try to be a good listener, try to listen to the speaker properly in order to communicate with the person properly. So, as I had already said, effective communication is not possible without active listening. Without proper listening, effective communication is never possible. All right. So, as a listener, you have a lot of responsibilities. The speaker definitely will try to mm, will try to deliver the speech properly, will try to connect with you, make connections with the audience, the speaker will definitely maintain his own things like body language, eye contact, the way he delivers the speech. That totally depends upon the speaker, but as a listener also, if you are the listener too has a lot of responsibilities, and the listener should definitely listen properly. Listen properly to the speaker. So, active listening involves using many of your senses to listen to the person. All right, it means giving full attention to the person. It means that you are giving your 100%, you're paying attention, and you are giving your full attention to the speech, to the speaker. So when you are listening to someone, you also need to take care of a certain things. So it doesn't mean that being the listener will like lie down, or you will sit um, very comfortably, you will lean and sit, and you will not look at the speaker, or you're not going to maintain eye contact, or you can do some other things. No, being a listener, you too have to, as I had said, that it means paying attention to the person properly. Attention, paying attention, full attention, paying full attention to the person. So it involves uh, non-verbal communication as well. So when you are listening to someone, you should take care of your facial expressions, you should take care of your body language, you should take care of the gestures, you should take care of your posture. So you should take care of all these things. Being a listener, you should maintain eye contact, you should appreciate the speaker, you should also try to make a connection. Of course, the speaker is going to try to make a connection, but along with the speaker, you also need to try to maintain a connection with the speaker. How will you be able to maintain a connection with the speaker? When you will maintain eye contact, when you will respond, even if you cannot even if you cannot interact with the speaker, you can nod your head, you can with the help of gestures, you can show your interest, you can show that yes, you're present, that you are there, you're there listening to the speaker. So there are a lot of other ways to respond. It's not always the words that you have to use to respond to somebody. You can also use a lot of gestures, you can use your body language, you can use your expressions to respond to a person properly. Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Is it clear regarding active listening? If it's clear, then I will move on to the importance of active listening. If not, then you can ask me. Is there any kind of doubt regarding this topic? Okay. Another thing I would just like to say is that what is the difference between listening and hearing? All right. You need to remember this thing because there's a difference between listening and hearing. Hearing is basically the act of perceiving a sound. Okay. But when you consciously choose to uh, when you consciously choose to hear something, that is listening. Okay. Otherwise, in general, we hear a lot of things, we hear a lot of sounds, but we do not choose to hear those sounds, or we do not hear to choose those things or those sounds. When you choose to hear something, that is basically listening. Okay, when you choose to hear something, then that is listening. And if you do not choose to do something, it just because you have a ear and you can hear the sounds, that particular act of perceiving sound by the ear, that is known as hearing. And when you choose to hear something, that is listening. Okay, so that's the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is something you do not have a control. So you cannot control hearing, but you have a control on listening. You can choose in between what to listen and what not to listen. But in case of hearing, if you do not have any kind of physiological problems, then definitely you will be able to hear all the sounds around. But what do? We generally ignore. We do not, we do not listen to those things. We do not listen to those sounds. We do not pay attention to those sounds. We do not pay attention to whatever we hear, isn't it? So, hearing is an activity that is, that is automatic, but listening is conscious. When you choose to hear something, that is listening. Now, y'all are listening to my lecture, isn't it? Y'all are listening now because you have chosen to do it. Now, for example, if you hear a sound outside, somebody is shouting, if somebody is shouting outside, that is hearing because you have not chosen to hear that, because you have a ear and you have that capacity of hearing, you have the capacity to hear. That is why you will hear that sound. You have the ability to hear everything around you, every sound, but you only choose to listen to a few things, a few sounds. All right, so that is the basic difference between listening and hearing. Moving ahead, now I'm going to discuss about the importance of active listening. So, why active listening is important? You should be an active listener. You should listen to the speaker properly in order to build trust. When you listen to the other person properly, when you actively listen to the other person, then you will be able to build trust. You will be able to build a relationship. When you don't listen to the speaker won't be able to, rely on you, or the speaker won't even feel like telling you something. So, if you listen to the person carefully, if you listen to the person properly, then definitely you will be able to build trust. And especially in case of professional relationships, personal relationships, you need to build a trust. In order to build a relationship, you need to build some kind of trust. So, active listening will help you to build trust. If you listen to the other person, if you listen to the speaker properly, तब तुम्हारे और स्पीकर के बीच में ट्रस्ट बिल्ड होगा. अगर तुम इंटरेस्ट शो नहीं करोगे, तुम अगर अच्छे से नहीं सुनोगे, सो दैट पर्सन, द स्पीकर वुड आल्सो नॉट बी इंटरेस्टेड टू शेयर समथिंग, टू टेल यू समथिंग, टू शेयर सम काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. तो अगर अच्छा रिलेशन बनाना है उसके साथ, पर्सनल हो प्रोफेशनल हो, यू हैव टू बी अ गुड लिसनर. The next point is boosts self confidence. So it increases your self confidence. If you are a good listener, you will be able to also increase your self confidence. Why? I'll be telling you. Once you listen to the other person properly, you will be able to build, you'll be able to build strong and positive relationships. So, you will be definitely able to boost up your confidence level. You will be able to develop your confidence. Once you listen to someone, when you listen to someone carefully, you will get all the necessary information which will help you, and you will also be able to build a good relationship, build a strong relationship with that person, and this is going to help you to develop your self confidence. So it is said that people who do this on a regular basis tend to feel confident in their abilities. So if you are a good listener, you will also be a confident person. You will also have, you'll also have confidence in your own abilities. because you are someone with whom people would like to talk. You are someone with whom people would love to talk, and you are someone who can build strong and good relationships. So that is why this is ultimately going to help you to boost up your self confidence. The next point is fewer mistakes and less miscommunication. So if you are a good listener, then you won't make a lot of mistakes and there won't be miscommunication. Okay? If you do not listen, you'll make a lot of mistakes and there'll be a lot of miscommunication. For example, if I give you a if I give you an assignment now, the ones who would listen to me properly, who would listen to whatever information related to the assignment I have provided, would listen to all the information properly, they would not have any kind of doubt or they would not make any kind of mistake, isn't it? But the ones who would not listen to me properly while I am while I'm instructing you something, while I'm giving certain information, while I'm sharing some information regarding the assignment, later on it'll be confused. Later on, you will have a lot of doubts, and there's also possibility of like making mistakes. So if you are a good listener, you will not make mistakes. You will also be able to communicate properly. When you don't listen properly, there's a lot of miscommunication, there's a lot of misunderstanding. Once you practice, once try to practice active listening, you will see the difference automatically. That when you get all the information, when you get all the necessary information, ultimately you will not be having any kind of doubts, ultimately you will not be making any kind of mistakes, and there won't be any kind of arguments or miscommunication. So that is why active listening is very important. And next is improved productivity. So it also increases productivity. It increases productivity as in because when you are given a task to do, and when you listen to the speaker properly, when you listen to the instructions properly, you will be able to do it properly, isn't it? But if you do not listen to if you do not listen to the instructions or the information properly, then you will be again confused and it is going to affect your productivity. If you listen, then you will be able to increase your productivity, improve your productivity. But if you do not listen, there'll be a lot of confusion, there'll be a lot of doubt, so you won't be able to improve your productivity. The result, productivity is what the result, isn't it? So you won't be able to increase that productivity, you won't be able to mm, give a there won't be a good outcome, there won't be a good outcome to that particular of that, you won't be able to deliver a good, you won't be able to deliver it properly. Okay, so that is why active listening is very important, to in order to have a crystal clear picture, in order to have in order to uh, have a clear picture, along with that, in order to work properly, and in order to deliver it properly. Next, one of the most important part of active listening is fewer arguments. So this is one of the most important part. You will not be misunderstood. You will also not misunderstand somebody. So that is why active listening helps to decrease arguments or conflicts. All right, you will you will be able to interact with one another, so that is why you will not misunderstand one another. There will be fewer arguments and there will be fewer conflicts, or maybe no conflicts. So that is why these are the five basic points related to importance of active listening. Of course, there are many other points as well, but these are some of the important points related to active listening. I hope you have understood. Is there any question for me? I'll continue with the same topic in the next class because I don't have much time now. So I'll continue with the same topic. Uh, so that's all for now. That's all for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Is there any doubt regarding whatever I had explained to you today?
Ma'am,
Huh,
my roll number is 26.
okay.
Due to network connection, I forgot this one disconnected.
Yeah, Aditya, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, miss.
Okay, okay. Is there any doubt?
Ma'am,
Yes.
and when a listener feels sleepy while listening to the speaker, what will it be called?
Selective listening. You will not
But
listen
he is not
ultimately.
selecting the words.
No, it's not about selecting the words. Selective listening is basically related to filtering the speech. You're listening to something and you're not listening to something. Okay, you're listening to 50% of the speech and you're not listening to the other 50%. And that is what selective listening. It's not about you picking up the words. You are just basically what you are doing. If you are a selective listener, so basically you're not concentrating. You're listening to half of it and you're not listening to half of it. So when a person feels sleepy, the person misses a lot of information. So it's selective listening. All right. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
You
That
don't
is
basically select
lots
the
of
words,
things
what to listen or
will be there.
not to listen. You're basically not listening to the whole thing and you're filtering the speech. So that is selective listening. Okay. It's not about selecting words. It just
Yes, ma'am.
related to
Mm.
filtering the whole speech. You're listening to some of the things and not listening to some of the things. So that is selective listening. All right.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Welcome. Is there any other doubts? So I'll be sharing the notes. Go through the notes. If you have any kind of doubt, you can ask me in the next class. So go through the notes, check it, and see whether you can understand or not. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care and see you in the next class. Bye bye.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I didn't give my attendance.
What's your roll number?
Ma'am, 022.
22, right? Okay, I'll mark you
Yes, ma'am.
present. Okay, I'll mark you present.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm 63.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Hmm.
63.
Hmm.